It is Lunar New Year. Another new year dawns on Tyria. Join the festivities and divinities reach. The year of the dragon is once more upon us, and the Lunar New Year festival returns with new rewards. Collect and open lucky envelopes to earn essences of luck, delicious foods, fireworks, valuable items, and a chance to find the new Lucky Dragon Lantern and Lucky Great Dragon Lantern backpacks. A couple of quick notes here. This is the holiday where you can turn luck into gold. A few recommendations from a old school player. A couple things here. One, if your luck right here is not maxed out, don't do that. Just consume the luck to increase your magic find. If you're a very long time player and you have 300 luck or 300 magic find from luck, you can, on an artificer character, use an artificing station with skill level 0. They can literally have just gotten artificing, and they can combine stacks of small luck into big luck. And then once you do that, you can just turn all luck you find into these exotic quality ones, which can be traded for envelopes that are worth gold at the festival. However, some of you may have seen a meme video of mine from last year where I was like, how to get 100 gold in seconds. And it was basically, I took a year's worth of saved up luck and turned it in, and it was 100 gold. A year's worth. It's not a lot of money. It is money. It's not a lot of money. So it's there if you have some extra laying around. The Lunar New Year annual meta achievement, Lunar New Year Customs, has been updated with a new reward, the Dragon Descendant's Helm. Last year's meta achievement reward, the Embellished Rabbit Vest, can now be purchased from the Lunar New Year rewards vendors. The new Fortunate Weapon set is now available. You receive your choice of weapon by progressing the annual Lunar New Year Customs meta achievement as well as the weekly Lunar achievements. Let me go to the... One second. I'm using the in-game wardrobe storage and going to weapon skins. Fortunate. Here we go. All right, let's see what these are. These are supposedly new. All right, so sword, hammer, longbow, shortbow, axe, and they got the dangly bits. You know we love the dangly bits here. Dagger, great sword, mace. That is. Are those coins? Does it have coins all over it? Pistol. I guess maybe they all just have coins like welded to them. Rifle. That is a lot of barrels. Or not barrels, but a lot of chambers. Scepter. Floating coin. Staff. Many floating coins. Focus. Torch. Warhorn. Shield. Giant coins. A shield. That's the last one. Okay. That was odd. Okay. And let's see. That's the Fortunate Weapon set. 3 new Lucky Dragon weapons are now available as rare drops from Divine Lucky Envelopes. They can also be purchased from Sparking Stone. Okay. Lucky Dragon. All right. Back to the game. We've got Lucky Dragon Hammer. Lucky Dragon Short Bow. And Lucky Dragon Harpoon Gun. I'm not gonna lie, this looks better than the legendary Harpoon Gun. Lucky Envelope rewards have been updated with new items for the Year of the Dragon, including a new backpack to celebrate the Year of the Dragon in style. New Mini Amnitus Storm Scale has been added to the festival reward vendors. New Mini Amnitus. Okay, hold on a sec. Da-da. Miniatures, Ammonii, and it's this. So it's like a battle stance sky scale with electricity on it. That's what you get for that one. All right. A new guild decorations has been added to commemorate Year of the Dragon. Dragon statue and golden dragon statue. Special objectives are available in the Wizard's Vault. It's almost a mount. Oh, hold on. Let me shrink my character. Boop, there we go. Now it's a battle pet. Okay. Where were we? Special objectives are available in the Wizard's Vault to earn extra astral acclaim as you enjoy the festival. Okay. Let's go to the in-game Wizard's Vault. Special, let's see. Complete the annual New Year Customs achievement. 250 points, 21 days remaining. I think that's it. All right. Back to this. A number of festival-related bugs have been fixed to ensure a happy holiday for all heroes. Lunar New Year will be active until February 20th at noon Pacific Time, UTC-8. See you in Divinity's Reach. General. New options to change the game mode balance of guild halls have been added. In order to change which rule set you want to use, speak to Castor Shoutsman once you've unlocked the arena in the guild hall. This is actually really cool. This is, not something that pertains to me, but there is definitely a chunk of the player base that would really love this feature. To quickly touch on what this is, let's say you've got a skill that does like, I don't know, 50,000 damage. I'm just gonna make up a number here. And then they're like, whoa, this is too powerful in PvP, and so they change it so that in PvP it does 10,000 damage. Still scary, but not a one-hit kill for everybody. If it does 50k on PvE bosses, whatever. If it does 50k PvP, that's a problem. Now the problem is there is an arena in the guild halls in Guild Wars 2 where people can do little tournaments or duels or what have you, Quaggan Ball. And in that arena, it's using the PvE rule set. So some skills hit way too hard, and it's not representative of how the game is balanced in PvP or World v World. Now you can change the rule set. So, like, Spike Trap on a Ranger does a ton of damage in PvE, but in PvP it just does a CC, it just does a crowd control. It doesn't do the huge, massive damage. Many skills operate differently. So this is a way for people that are passionate about duels or a PvP that is like arranged, like meet me at high noon. You could do that in guild halls now, hopefully, and use this to change the rule set, which should make it much better for you. A new NPC has been added to guild halls when the arena is unlocked. They will allow you to change which team you're on without entering the arena itself and keep your team while moving around the entirety of the guild hall, which would allow you to have larger scale events. When receiving currencies, hovering over the tooltip will now display the quantity in your wallet. Fixed an issue that prevented the Spar with Zunlai Jade's Guard Mechs events in New Koenig City from succeeding. Fixed an issue that caused the growing anxiety effect to persist in rare circumstances during the final fight in Defense of Amnatus meta event in Amnatus. Fixed an issue that caused Ziesel to sometimes stay in the room and throw potions after players successfully completed help Ziesel prepare concoctions for the fight against the Cryptus event in Amnatus. So the fight's over and he's just, ah! No wonder he constantly needs more potions. Alright. Profession skills. In this update, we're trying out new processes for the skills and balance update notes. Instead of combining new notes and preview notes into one continuous block and highlighting changes to the previous notes, we'll be separating the new changes into their own section. These new notes will be considered the most up-to-date versions of the release notes, so if a change to a skill or trait exists in both sections, the new notes take precedent. In some changes, the new note will say the skill is unchanged to communicate that a proposed change from the preview was removed from the final update. Our goal with the new process is to make clear what has changed between the balance preview and the final release, while also streamlining the transition from balance previews to final release notes. General. New changes. Relic of Resistance will now trigger when using a healing skill instead of when using elite skills. Reduce the resistance duration from 5 seconds to 2.5. Reduce the cooldown from 30 to 10. The resistance from this relic is now only applied to the user instead of an area around the user. Okay. And then, as from the preview, as with the November update, this update also includes improvements for some underperforming relics. Caracosa lowered the healing multiplier from 0.8 to 0.5 in PvE and World v World. Relic of the Flock. This relic now heals instead of granting barrier. Excess healing is converted into barrier. Relic of Resistance. I love that excess healing converted to barrier thing. That's such a nice quality of life thing. Relic of Resistance. This relic now triggers when using a healing skill instead of when using an elite. We actually just read about that here, so I'll skip that. Relic of the Pack now also grants Might and Fury to affected allies. Relic of Durability now also grants Resolution. Relic of the Weaver now no longer has an internal cooldown. Dagda, the projectile fired by this relic, now dazes enemies that it strikes, reduces the warm-up duration from 1.5 second to 1 second. Where the link at? I will post it again, just a moment. Relic of the Citadel, reduce the warm-up duration from 2 seconds to 1. Relic of the Crate, Nightmare, and Wizard's Tower, all reduce warm-up duration from 2 seconds to 1. Elementalist changes. The change to Hammer in November pushed condition builds for Tempest and Weaver higher than we'd like to see, so we're making a few tweaks to bring those builds back in line. Singeing Strength burning duration reduced from 3 seconds to 1.5 in PvE. Surging Flames reduced the burning duration from 9 seconds to 3 in PvE. Massive. Ground Pound reduced bleeding from 10 seconds to 6 in PvE. Engineer. January 30th, preview notes. Condition, Hollow, and Power Scrapper are overtuned in PvE and getting brought back down this update. We're also slightly reworked Bulwark Gyro to be more reliable for supporting allies, and Adaptive Armor has been reworked for to be an effective Grandmaster trait for support builds to prepare for the introduction of the short bow. Blowtorch, which is a offhand pistol skill, fixed an issue that caused the skill to inflict more burning than intended. Bulwark Gyro, the skill no longer redirects damage from nearby allies to the user and now grants barrier to nearby allies upon activation and on each pulse. This is an awesome change, I feel like, as someone who played Heal Scrapper for about a year. Bulwark Gyro, what it does is it reduced the damage that nearby allies would take by 20%, but it funneled that damage to you, and then also did the barrier. The problem was if an ally stood in stupid. So if, like, you're on Bone Skinner and it's time to step left and an ally wasn't quick enough and your Bulwark Gyro was active, they would die and also you would die. Like, even if you moved out of the thing, if they were in range of your Bulwark Gyro and you took a portion of their one-hit kill damage, you also got one-hit killed. So it made it very tough, especially when you wanted to use the gyro for the barrier or for the field to help combo, to keep quickness up, stuff like that. Anyway, this is a nice change, and it will make it be easier to use this when you need to use it. Adaptive Armor has been reworked. Your Function Gyro now has 2 charges of ammo and grants barrier to allies when cast. Function Gyro no longer has increased recharge when creating additional gyros, but has a higher base recharge. I'm very curious to see what builds come out of this, because this is very interesting to me, and I'm curious to see, like, what might happen with this. Applied Force reduced the bonus power per might stack from 35 to 30 in PvE. Guardian, new changes. True Shot reduced the power coefficient from 2 to 1.7 in PvP. Test of Faith reduced the pass-through power coefficient from 2.8 to 2.5 in PvP. Hunter's Premonition fixed an issue that caused traps to grant Aegis without this trait. So they were not supposed to be. And then the preview notes. Support Firebrand still isn't quite at the level we'd like to see in PvP, so we made a few more improvements to it in this update. We've also reworked Radiant Fire trait to be less dependent on always having a torch equipped, to make room for condition builds to swap between offhand torches and pistols. Pistols are, of course, being added to Guardian, I believe, mid to late February. Radiant Fire trait no longer grants Zealot's Flame when critically striking an enemy. Instead, it grants an additional ammunition to Zealot's Flame. This trait also causes Zealot's Flame to inflict additional burning to enemies in PvE only. Soaring Devastation, the movement speed granted by this trait no longer removed when Wings of Resolve is on cooldown. Mantra of Solace reduced the cooldown from 30 to 24 seconds in PvP only. Mantra of Liberation reduced ammo recharge time from 45 to 35 in PvP. Chapter 3, Azure Sun, this skill now also heals affected allies. Increase the cooldown from 8 seconds to 15 in PvP and World v World. Mid to late February, like the 20th, it might be February 20th. I just didn't have the date in front of me. Chapter 2, Igniting Burst, this skill is now a blast finisher. Reduce the casting time went from 0.86 to 0.68. Chapter 4, Shining River, reduced the casting time from 0.86 to 0.68 also. Merciful Intervention reduced the cooldown from 32 seconds to 25, increased the radius from 180 to 240, reduced the base healing from 2300 to 2000 in PvP and World v World. Reduced the healing coefficient from 1.1 to 0.8 in PvP and World v World. Reversal of Fortune fixed an issue that prevented this skill from healing while in the air. Fixed an issue that prevented this skill from triggering on heal effects. That in the air thing is funny, because I've seen that with a few different classes. Because, like, for example, if you're fighting Whisper of Jormag occasionally will, like, kind of uppercut the whole raid and throw you all in the air and you fall back down. And if you're casting a heal spell, and, like, in the middle of the cast, and you get thrown in the air, the act of getting knocked in the air doesn't interrupt what you're casting. It'll still finish, but sometimes finishing the cast while in the air won't heal people, depending on the skill. And then other times, if you finish it in the air, it will still work. Or if you're on like a druid and you're casting Healing Spring and you get thrown in the air, it might make this Healing Spring in the sky and then you all fall out of it. So it doesn't continuously help you anymore. You know, there's a lot of weird interactions between beneficial party abilities and being airborne the moment they finish their cast bar. So I as not a Guardian main, I haven't experienced this one in particular, but I'm happy for my support friends that that's getting fixed. Mesmer, new change. Chaotic Persistent will be unchanged. So they originally said they were going to nerf the expertise, and they changed their mind. Imaginary Axes. Reduce the clone torment duration from 4 to 3.5 seconds in PvE. They originally said they were going to make it from 4 to 3 seconds, so they did nerf it, but not as hard as they said they were going to. January 30th preview. Condi Mirage damage output is getting toned down after it landed too high with the changes in November. The November update also pushed Mesmer support builds a bit over the top in World v World, and we're starting with some reductions. I started to say re-education. Smack them around. Reduction to its alacrity and quickness access. We'll be keeping a close eye on the effectiveness of these builds once the rifle's available, and we will be making additional adjustments as needed to bring them back in line with the other support builds. Supportive mantras are also getting minor usability improvements to prepare for the release of the rifle. Lingering Thoughts reduce the number of world finishers from 4 to 2. Lacerating Chop reduce clone condition durations from 3 to 1 in PvE. Imaginary Axes, already touched on that up here. Mantra of Pain increase the radius from 240 to 360, will no longer require a target. Mantra of Recovery and Resolve increase radius from 240 to 360. Mantra of Distraction no longer requires a target. Split Second increase the cooldown from 12 to 15 in World v World. Illusionary Membrane reduce the condition damage bonus from 10% to 7 in PvE. Chaotic Persistence, we touched on up here. This is the old note that's out of date. Restorative Mantras. This trait now triggers when using a mantra ammunition skill instead of when charging a mantra. Reduce the base healing from 1600 to 800. Reduce the healing coefficient from 1 to 2.5. So this means the fact that it's when using an ammo skill instead of when charging means you'll be able to use this far more often, which is why they have nerfed the healing amount. You'll get this 800 heal more often than when you got the 1600 heal in the past. Escape Artists reduce the distortion duration from 5 seconds to 1.5 in World v World. Improved Alacrity reduce the Alacrity recharge speed from 50% to 35 in World v World. Still really good, but not what it was. Flow of Time reduce the Alacrity per clone from 1.5 seconds to 0.75 in World v World. And Seize the Moment reduce the quickness per clone from 1 second to 0.75 in World v World. Let's see. Necromancer. Hold on, there's a note in chat right now. Quick Draw both reduces the recharge and the count regen on Mirage now. Oh no. Necromancer, January 30th, a balance update preview. Necro is currently in a pretty good spot in PvE. We've considered some improvements for power Harbinger builds, but we want to see where the build lands with the introduction of swords before making any additional changes. Transfusion is a trait that overperforms in support Scourge builds in World v World. So we're making a change similar to what we did with Path of Corruption, in which the trait will now increase the cooldown of its related Scourge skill in World v World only. Transfusion will now increase the cooldown of Garish Pillar, which is the F4, I believe, of Scourge to 60 seconds in World v World. It was like 12 or something before. So that is substantial. For those who might not know, Transfusion is the skill that when you hit the F4 on Scourge, on anyone, but Scourge usually uses it, it will pulse out a bunch of healing around you and also pulls down states to you so that you could try to save them. So this is substantial nerf to that gameplay in World v World. Ranger. New changes. Lingering Magic. Fixed an issue that caused this trait to grant pets more boon duration than intended. January 30th, balance update preview. Condition-based quickness Untamed is another build that's overperforming in terms of damage and is getting a few adjustments to bring it more in line. Quickness Untamed builds can struggle with might generation for their allies, so we've added might to the Let Loose trigger in PvE to improve this. Greatsword is also getting a handful of tune-ups with the goal of making it a more competitive option for power builds. Slice increased power coefficient 0.8 to 1.0 in PvE. Enduring Swing increased power coefficient from 1.4 to 1.6 in PvE. Maul, increased power from 1.75 to 2.0 in PvE. Swoop, increased power coefficient from 1.0 to 2.18. So, big jump on that one. Swoop is the dash forward and then slice attack of the greatsword. Counterattack Kick, increased power coefficient from 1.3 to 2.25 in PvE. And Hilt Bash, increased power coefficient from 0.72 to 2.25. So basically, this whole section here is Great Sword Unga Bunga's harder in PvE. Barrage, this is Longbow 5. Increase the ammo count from 1 to 2 in World v World only. Now, of course, one of the very few World v World build guides I've ever made was the Arrow Cart, which was the Ranger build that was focused entirely on just sitting like 1600 range away and just like, you know, peppering enemies with a barrage. It's like 5 seconds of barrage every 10 seconds. And just non-stop, lots of loot, lots of bags, lots of damage. This is going to be possibly a buff to that. I'm very curious to see how that turns out. Twin Darts, the Devourer family, reduce the power coefficient per hit from 0.25 to 0.15 in PvE. Really surprised to see this. So Devourers recently, when they did the pet reworked, Devourers did kind of come out on top. But when I say come out on top, I mean that like if the target's standing still, they could maybe do 2 to 3k DPS. 2 to 3k. All right? That's after 10 years of them being bad. And they were like similar to Abogas. And it's like Aboga's still on top. And they're not touching Aboga. But they're nerfing the Devourers. Which I find odd, but it's honestly not. The pets are such a small percentage of Ranger's damage, which I think is unfortunate. I think it should be a larger percentage of the total damage. That this isn't going to be a massive change to things, but I think it's odd. Poisonous Cloud from Carrion Devourer, increase the cooldown from 20 to 30 seconds in PvE. Sundering Volley, reduce the bleeding stacks per hit from 3 to 2 in PvE. And Let Loose, this trait will now grant 5 stacks of might for 10 seconds, in addition to its previous effects in PvE only. All right. One guy in chat says right now it's 10 seconds of barrage every 10 seconds. Awesome. Revenant. In addition to toning down the damage of Power Vindicator in PvE, we made some minor adjustments to Axe to improve its usability for conditioned builds. I'll just really quickly say that there is no more breaking news notes. The rest of these are the same as the previous video. So if you saw the previous video, you might have already seen these notes. Frigid Blitz no longer inflicts slow. The skill now also inflicts torment. Temporal Rift, reduce the time the rift takes to collapse from 0.9 seconds to 0.75. Echoing Eruption, reduce the number of blast finishers from 3 to 1. The skill now also grants might to the user. Leviathan Strength, reduce the damage bonus from 15% to 10 in PvE. Thief. Deadeye has been growing in popularity in PvP over the last few months, and we've seen it can be too difficult to lock down for the damage it's capable of dealing. We're increasing the initiative cost of Death's Advance to require a larger resource investment for the survivability that it provides. Skirmisher Shot, reduce the power coefficient from 0.8 to 0.7 in PvP. Death's Advance, increase the initiative cost from 2 to 4 in PvP. And then Warrior changes. Power-based Quickness Berserker is the final overperforming build we're tackling in this update, shifting a bit more of the power away from Bloody Roar and into Blood Reaction to create a larger damage trade-off for the Quickness build. Blood Reaction increased precision to ferocity conversion from 10% to 12% in PvE, and Bloody Roar reduced the damage bonus from 20% to 15% in PvE. So, that is the changes from the update notes for today. Let's do the usual and check the gem store really quick, see if there's anything new here. Peaceful Shrine Chair. I believe this is new. They got a bench. It looks like there's a little fox spirit, statue of a fox, one of those little shrine things, and like a cherry blossom tree in the background. If anime has taught me anything. So that is that. I don't know that there's any new Black Lion stuff today, but let's confirm. Preview the box. Collapsing Star set. Star Sentinel outfit. Oh! I haven't seen this before. I think this is new. Yeah, there's that other star outfit that has your cheeks all hanging out that human female characters are really fond of. This is kind of neat. I unironically like this. This is pretty cool. You got little Aladdin shoes too. Well, it's even got the side toes. They didn't forget those. The Surin side toes. That's cool. And then there's like magic like bleeding off of the tabard too. +1 for cheeks, yeah. Say wielded. It's got that Marvin Martian hat. I do like it. I actually like this. The artist did a good job with this one. All right, hold on. Clear preview. What is this? Arcane Sigil Backpack and Glider combo. This was already in there. This had been there before. Is a cool looking thing already there. Okay, so that's new. And boink. Let's bounce over here. And I launched myself into the wall. New feature. Can I talk to the... Okay, I can... Okay, the merchant will still work with me through the wall. It's okay. Thundercrag set. Was this already here? Yes, this was already here. This is the Lightning Fire set. We showed this off last time. Okay. I think that is all the new stuff that I know of. So the Lunar New Year Festival, some balancing stuff, and next month we will get all the new weapons that we're all like super looking forward to, except Necros because they will bleed themselves with their swords. And yeah, so just some general balancing and nerf to elementalists, just some seasoning on the patch notes. Normal stuff, standard stuff. With that, that's all we got for today. And if you got any questions, problems, thoughts, concerns, anything I missed, put it in the comments down below.